Let's go ahead and change our figure to one that has a texture or material on it. For example, I'm going to get Ryan in this scene. So I'm going to click on Andy and hit delete. And goodbye, you've been voted off the island again. I'm going to scroll down into the Poser 8 folder, as you see here. And when I twirl that open, I can scroll down to Ryan. And I'm going to bring in the Ryan casual figure. So let me go ahead and grab that, move this down a little bit. And I'll double click on Ryan. Just get a hold of him real fast. There we go. Now, Ryan, as you can see when he loads up, has a material on his shirt. I'll zoom in a little bit. And it has a little bit of a DK kind of fashion shirt on him. We can change this very easily. But first of all, we have to learn about how the materials work inside of Poser. So we're going to spend this whole section on this topic. Let's hop over to the Material tab here to go into the Material room. When we do this, we can see materials based on the selected object. As you can see, we currently have Ryan Casual, which is this guy, and the material that's currently selected is the body. If I scroll down, we see that we have this image here, and this makes up the material that makes up his skin. But what we're going to talk about here is something called nodes. These guys are called nodes. And these boxes here are how we plug our information into the final material. For example, as you can see, this is an image map. The image source contains the skin. The skin texture or node is plugged into this guy here, which feeds that information from here to the diffuse color. To give you an example of what happens when I disconnect a node, I'll go ahead and click on this guy, and I'll click disconnect. Notice that his skin now turns like a vampire. It's pale. So why is that? Well, once again, this is the node that tells Poser where this texture is located and how it's supposed to fit onto the model, as you can see here. So in the UV space, which is the space for textures in 3D, how it should fit onto the model, the texture coordinates, backgrounds, and all kinds of other things. When I plug this back in by grabbing this pin icon, and I simply click and move my mouse to move this node connector to where I want it to plug in, it goes back and feeds that data into this information. You can feed nodes into different inputs. For example, I can take the same image and I can also input it into the bump channel, for example. And if I move this over, we see that we have two connections. You can always disconnect once again by clicking on the little icon and disconnect. So that's what a node is. The other tools that we'll have to deal with as we learn more about this is how we're going to manipulate the nodes and how these nodes are going to interact with our model. For example, we can tell Poser that we want to have a certain reflection map reflect onto our object. So this is really handy when you want to have a vase in your scene, but you really want to have a room that you took a picture of yourself reflected onto that vase. And we're going to talk more about these nodes in the upcoming lessons. So that is what a node is. It's simply a container of data that you can feed or plug into the inputs here that then generate the final output, which is what we see right here. This final output is then projected onto our model.